am Jay of IFTNetworkTV.com. Welcome to What's It About? IFT Network's Synopsis show. Today we're going to talk with producer Olivia Baptista. Olivia, please introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Olivia Baptista, and I am a content creator based in Los Angeles.
Thank you, Olivia. Olivia can be seen in several titles on IFTNetworkTV.com. What's in the Name? A short film. Waking Up, a short film. Growing Nowhere, the series. And Here We Wait, the series. So first, let's talk about Here We Wait. Please tell us, what's it about?
Oh God, that's the big one. I guess, most simplified, it's basically about if purgatory were a restaurant. This is about the waitstaff, and there are these people from different time periods and different walks of life stuck there for eternity. And for some, eternity is like their personal heaven. For others, it's their personal hell, and it's a character study about what it is to be stuck with each other and what happens when their world starts to fall apart and they have to sort of figure out what's going on.
Excellent. That's 20 episodes in that series, so that's why
20
it's a long one.
Yeah. I don't know what we were thinking, but it's 20 episodes.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It's a little sci-fi flavor to it.
Yes. Yeah, it's a little sci-fi.
And we're going to talk about the short film, What's in the Name? Please tell us, what's it about?
So What's in the Name that's the first thing I ever produced. It is about a lonely and estranged father, who finds himself joined by this fantasy version of what he thinks his future granddaughter will be like, as he is searching for the perfect name to suggest at her birth and sort of turning his life around in the process.
Yeah, I enjoy that movie a lot.
Yeah, thank you.
We're going to talk about the short film, Waking Up. Please tell us, what's it about?
It's a comedy. Three strangers accidentally get high at a friend's wake and are determined to live out her dying wishes, all over the course of like an 8-hour day.
Shrooms, I love it. I know.
They do shrooms, yeah.
And then Growing Nowhere, the series. Please tell us, what's it about?
Growing Nowhere. Two delusional 20-somethings navigating adulthood and attempting to conquer the job market, all while doing as little work as possible. So, comedy.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So please tell us a little bit about yourself and what led you to this fabulous business that we're in.
Oh, goodness. So I am born and bred from New Jersey, proudly. Child of immigrants. My dad's from Portugal. My mom's family's from Italy. And I think that informs a lot of what I do, just sort of like othered voices or feeling displaced, or just the idea of like found family. I just love exploring that aspect of this industry or of life. And, my entry into this industry, my dad used to be an actor. In the 80s, he was the Levi's butt of the 80s.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's iconic. I worked at the Gap in the late 90s, the early 90s, and they would go in there from all over the world. I was in 34th Street, the biggest Gap in the world.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And they would come in there screaming for levies, levies, levies. So your dad inspired people across the globe. Or at least it's behind.
At least it's behind it. It did. And I think he was doing a commercial, and the director was like, I need a baby for a shoot this week. And I think my dad was like, oh, I got one of those. Like, you can just borrow mine. And that was it. That was my break. I think it was a Visa commercial. I've never seen it. I have no idea. But my parents say just from an early age, it's what I wanted to do. And I've been blessed to know that like this is what I want to do forever. Went to college because I thought that was really important. I worked with this nonprofit called Youth Bridge Global when I graduated, which we went to the Balkans and we're based in Bosnia, and we taught Shakespeare to kids, hoping to sort of bridge the social and cultural gaps that were left from the war. And I think that was my real first taste to see how art in the real world, producing out in the real world, can actually change people and mindsets. It's always felt like this intangible, art changes people's minds, but to really see it and to see these kids change and us change throughout this entire process, I was just further certain that that's what I had to do for the rest of my days. I got back and moved to New York, and then started producing. And a lot of that came from a place of just, well, why not? Or why don't we just do this? Or let's not worry about like the whys or the money or the where and the how, just do it. And
Diving in.
just dive in. And I think, I think me today looks back at me then like, you were crazy. Me today is like, oh, but budgetary constraints and, permits and all of these things that I didn't care about then. I was like, grab a camera and let's go. And so that started with What's in a Name. That's written by my dear friend Tabitha Xavier, who I went to college with up at Dartmouth, and she's a super talented screenwriter. And we just sort of started brainstorming together. I was like, I had the itch to act at the time and to see if I could produce. And I knew I could produce it in my hometown. Everything I've produced was produced in my hometown. It's this great working class town in New Jersey that just appreciates like that kind of grab and go, up by the bootstraps sort of energy. Yeah. So like, I just knew I could ask people for favors there, or be like, hey, can we like film in your yard or use your boat or whatever? And they'd be like, yeah, sure. So we devised this script about a father and his daughter, and just went and did it, and that film ended up going to Cannes, and that was like really, really cool. Yeah. So after that, that's when Here We Wait came to be a thing. Sagan, my creative partner on that, Sagan Chen, who used to enjoy watching web series, and I didn't even know what they were at the time, was introduced me to this one. They're like, oh, it's so funny. It's so, and all I did watching it was like, well, we can do this, and we can do
no kidding.
I was like, let's just do this. Are you kidding?
Slam dunk.
I was just like, that's fine. So we just started brainstorming in my apartment for days and days. I went and wrote the first 2 episodes one night, sent it to them, and was like, what do we think? And they were like, we're really doing it. Okay.
Let's go.
Yeah. And that's just, Here We Wait is sort of the first thing I really consider my baby, because I wrote that, I produced it, Sagan and I both acted in it. And we did a full-on cast. We had a casting director, Amber Porter.
Big cast, big production.
Huge production, raised a lot of money, got a lot of favors. And just, I don't know what we were thinking. We didn't even edit scripts. It was just the first 10 episodes were absolutely unedited. We were just, we wrote the thing. Let's go do the thing.
Let's go handle that.
Yeah. And I find, what inspires my writing is I like writing under constraints. So for that, we knew like we wanted one location. We did not want to have to deal with moving locations, getting actors places, one place, never leave it. We knew we wanted an ensemble cast, and we knew we wanted it to be a little sci-fi genre-ish. It was really inspired by like Grey's Anatomy, Orphan Black. Like we were super into those shows. And so we knew we had access to this large banquet bar restaurant facility and could film in that overnight whenever we wanted. So we were like, great, that's our location. Go from there. And that's how that one happened. It was overnight shoots broken into 3 chunks over the span of like 7 or 8 months. To this day, I know we both look back and don't know how we did it. Just like your body, it's so hard to adjust to those overnight shoots. You wake up at 4, you have eggs at like 5 p.m. and then you go work and you eat like big pots of paella that was made for at like 3 a.m. because that's your meal time. Some of us, I remember we were filming in Jersey, and I got on 9 a.m. trains to go work in the city to then come back and do it again.
Do another, I feel like those overnights don't ever really start on time ever. There's like never one day where if you set to like start at like 12:30, 1 a.m., it's 2 a.m. and you're still looking around like, why aren't we rolling? Why aren't we doing anything?
Oh my God. And because it was also like a functioning restaurant and banquet.
Right.
It was like if some people stayed late, they stayed late. If a wedding went a little later, So
you're at their mercy. Yep, totally.
Yes. And that made it, and I just think that really added to the experience. Our editor on that, Jessica Green, who I know is like also,
Oh,
yeah,
IFT core team. Absolutely great.
incredible. She's incredible. I remember, our finale, we didn't even get to film, I think like 4 pages of it. It's a web series.
Wow.
It's like 11 pages total, and we just could not get to like 4 of them. And we were really relying on, we're like, maybe Jess can fix it in the end. I don't
Magic.
know.
Magic in the
And
editing.
she did. She toiled and tried, and we were giving up. We're like, well, we're just going to throw away this finale. And then she called us one day and was like, all right, listen, Grey's Anatomy, you know how that's really driven by voiceover? And we were like, say no more. We love that show. Go do whatever you're going to do and let us know. And it turned out great. It worked for what we had and what we needed, and we're incredibly happy with it. She and our entire post team was just so involved, and that's what made that experience so great, was how I think Sagan and I really pride ourselves on like letting the other creatives shine so much. And
do what they do work their strengths.
They do. Yeah, and that's like half this. And I think a lot of the time people get too precious. You get
It's
too
important,
precious,
man. Everybody's got to play the role and do what they do best.
That's it. And it's like when you just let them do what they do, God, they made that show better. Our entire crew, our cast was phenomenal. Just they made it better. I don't know where we found them, but it's so great to see them all working so much more now, and to see, people found them because of Here We Wait. And now I see our composer working all the time, our sound designer's working all the time, Jess is working all the time, our production designer, and it's just like, we brought all of those people together, and it's really cool to see now what they're doing. And they bring each other along. I see it. I see both their names on credits, and I'm like, wow, that's clearly a connection that works, and synergy that you can't create. It's just luck half the time.
Oh, that's a big part of the community in the indie space, whether it be film, theater, a series. I think when you collaborate with people, you learn not just about them, you learn their vulnerabilities, you learn their strengths. And I think those are lessons that we know from people that we can rely on or not, and say, hey, you know what, I'm going to rely on you from now on for this or for that. And it just goes from there. Sounds like Here We Wait had an explosion of talent. And it
really did. Yeah,
that's great.
It really did. So I'm super proud of that. A part of me revisited it recently, and I almost wish I could go back and rewrite it, because I just have learned so much since then. I'm like, oh, it would be such a better show, proper, 30-minute space or hour space. But I still look at it with awe, and I sometimes joke I peaked with that show. It's just, I don't know how. I say it all the time. I just don't know how we did it. Olivia now would tell Olivia then no, no, budget, money, no.
Well, I think, we mature in our professions, and we realize, we can't do certain things anymore. It's just not going to work. We talk about the talent too around us, and some of the people around us just, as we grow, they've grown or they've already been there, and they're like, no, dude, you're not going to
they'll never do it again.
Right. So they're like, you're not going to go down that street ever again.
Yeah.
What do you want audiences to take away from your work?
I really hope people feel seen. I develop new shows and pilots now, and I really try to be conscious and inclusive of, female voices, because why not? LGBTQ voices, people of color. I just think there's no reason why someone shouldn't see themselves physically represented on a screen, but also I really hope, right? Why is that hard? I also really hope that
it's necessary. It's absolutely necessary.
Yeah. And it's just, I want to challenge people too. I want you to watch perspectives that you maybe didn't think about, or I want you to love and hate every character I ever write. I really do. I don't want one protagonist that does no wrong, or that you always are going to side with. That's not real life. And that's not interesting to me. Even in a farcical comedy like Growing Nowhere, I want you to hate one of those girls at some point, and I want you to love them at other points. I just, So I hope people just feel escapism. I hope they feel seen. And in certain shows, I really hope they feel a little bit challenged. I just hope they kind of go, huh, or, oh, I never thought of that, or an interesting perspective. Like that's a win. I write for myself, and I write things that will excite me and that I would want to watch. And I think at a time I hoped there was an audience for some of it, but now I know there's an audience for it. Your voice will resonate somewhere. I know that. I've experienced it enough, both as the writer and as a viewer. So I'm not worried about finding my audience anymore. I'm just excited to get my work out there.
Excellent. I agree.
Yeah.
I think those puddles are slowly growing into ponds, and those ponds will soon be lakes. And the more you get to that representation and those voices included, I think that inspires those others in those pockets to do what they think they can do. And that's how we all learn and grow. And I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Tell us, what is next for you? What is next for Olivia?
What is next for me? A lot of things I can't talk about.
Of course.
I mentioned I develop new series now. And so I've done that up until this point with a writing partner, Christina Paterno, who I developed Growing Nowhere with. Yeah, she's great. And I just finished my first solo project, which is a science fiction pilot, 1 hour drama.
I read it. I'm very excited for you. Yeah.
You helped me on it. You were so, I mean, I've got pitches have started, and I've got meetings set up starting in about 2 weeks. Yeah. So
I just got goosebumps. I'm so hyped for you. First of all, I'm a big fan of yours. I think you're one of the hardest working. I know that you can pretty much do anything that needed on a set. So like anything, a gaffer to anything, from behind the camera, directing. I know you can do it all. So I'm a huge fan of yours. I can't wait to be on set one day and be working on stuff together. Maybe this top secret project you just mentioned, who knows?
Who knows?
But the idea that, you're in LA, you're boots on the ground, you're doing the work, you're involved in so many different facets of this business. I mentioned that because I want people to know, as we do these interviews, part of that is so people know who the hell we are. No one knows who the fuck we are, let's face it. And so this will be on the internet forever. And then people should know that Olivia's a badass, and Olivia can pretty much do any aspect of a film or series, or I'm pretty sure even in the theater you could probably get down. So that's important for people to know that, I think. So
yeah, thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, sure. And always best of luck. I think like I said, I'm a huge fan of yours, and I think we're on the cusp of some really fun times through our community, not just individually. I think together, I think we're gonna see some fun things.
100%. The IFT network, especially. It's just so, and it's I kind of mentioned earlier, it's so great when you log onto the site to see how many dots you can connect. It's like, oh my God, wait, I worked with this person, they worked with them, they worked with Josh worked with me, and just see how it all is a family. It's a growing web of independent creators that hustle. Like they're just defined by their hustle. So
yep. And I think the fact that we're all somehow connected right now, so we all know and are very much aware of how we all hustle, that matters, because you know that you can get down with these people and you're going to get work done. And I think that's a huge part of it. So thank you. That's excellent.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it.
So now we know what several of your titles are all about. For more, visit iftnetworktv.com. Thank you very much, Olivia.
Yeah, thank you.